Hey, ProbStatsS kids, this is Dr. Callahan with Week 5 Thursday. How are you guys doing? Go ahead and pause the video and go ahead and answer the following questions for your warm-up log. All right, let's go ahead and create the assignment for today so that way you guys are checking in for those of you guys who are doing this online. As always, your instruction is to make sure you guys view the assignment so that way I know you're here so I can take the attendance. You want to do that definitely before 3 p.m. Specifically, you want to do this before the end of your class period. So just keep that in mind. There are 2 links that you need for this class. And today our topic of discussion is going to be on comparing p-values to alpha and determining whether you need to reject the claim or fail to reject the claim. So that is going to be our topic of discussion for week 5, Thursday, ProbStatsS semester 2. All right, so there are 2 probability and statistic class. And it is, of course, due by 3 p.m. And let's go ahead and cite it. All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and get started with today's stuff. So when I saw you guys yesterday, we talked a little bit about writing claims, null hypothesis, alternative hypothesis, and rejection of the hypothesis itself. We also talked about when comparing the p-value with the alpha, and just keep in mind that if the p-value is less than the alpha, you should reject the null hypothesis. However, if the p-value is greater or equal to the alpha, you do not reject the null hypothesis. Your homework from week 5, Tuesday, is on page that's going to be on number 3 to 14 all. It's a total of 11 points. So go ahead and take a look at the answers. So pause the video for a second and check your answers. Make sure you have the work on the back of your homework template. This is what we talked about last time as well. So make sure you still have this table because we're going to be needing it. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at objective number 6 and 7, and let's see if we can check it together. So take a look at my answer as to when it is appropriate to reject the null hypothesis and when it is not appropriate to reject it. All right, so then here's the breakdown for today. We are going to be day 2, 7.2, comparing p-value to alpha and determining to reject or fail to reject the claim. We're going to go over example 4 on page 8. There's 6 steps, and so it's just going to be one example. And then we're going to go over objective practice number 8 on page 20. And I'm just going to give you guys a quick little quiz on the stuff you learned today, so that way it's fresh and better in your mind, and you can just take it and then be done with it. Afterwards, I have a high school survey on your current performance. And then, of course, there is the Dr. Callahan's interest inventory. So that is basically it. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so this is example 4. Go ahead and read the following steps that is going to be required for this example. When you're done with that, go ahead and read the table as to when there is enough evidence to reject a null hypothesis and when there is enough evidence to fail to reject the null hypothesis. All right, so looking at this right here, it says an advertisement A pizza shop claims that its mean way of delivery time is less than 30 minutes. A random selection of 36 delivery times has a sample mean of 28.5 minutes and a standard deviation. Remember, standard deviation is the number of minutes away from the mean. So this is your bell curve, and the mean right here is at 28.5 minutes. Remember, +1 standard deviation minus 1 standard deviation is when you add 3.5 minutes, and then when you subtract 3.5 minutes. Remember that? Well, you did this back in semester 1. Is there enough evidence to support the claim using alpha equals 0.01? Use a p-level. So let's go ahead and see what we're going to do here. All right, so step number 1. First thing to do is you are going to give me the opposite of what the claim is stating. What the claim is stating is that the alternative hypothesis is saying that the delivery time is less than 30 minutes. Less than 30 minutes. That is stating the claim. Your null hypothesis is going to be opposite of the claim, or it is opposite of the null or alternative hypothesis. So then looking at this, your null hypothesis is greater or equal to 30 minutes. Okay, so that is step number 1. Step number 2, if you read the instructions from the previous page, it is asking you to identify the level of significance. And so your level of significance is 0.01. So that's done. Step number 3, find a standardized test statistic, the blank score, or in this case, it is a z-score, and it is also given to you a formula of that. Okay, so there are a few components that you need to find. You need to find the X bar, which is going to be the mean average time for delivery of pizza. That's 28.5 minutes. The U is the, what is the claim saying? Claim is saying 30 minutes. So that's U. Then you need the standard deviation, and the standard deviation is 3.5 minutes, which is given from the example. And then the sample. How many deliveries are there? 36 delivery times. Okay, so now that you have this, I want you guys to go ahead and grab a calculator. You want to go ahead and plug this in, and then we're going to go ahead and figure out what that's going to be. So you're going to have your z-score equals 28.5 minus 30 divided by 3.5 divided by the square root of 36. All right, so then let's subtract it. The numerator, when you subtract 28.5 minus 30, is a negative 1.5. Then you have 3.5 divided by the square root of 36, which is 6. Now let's go ahead and divide the denominator. 3.5 divided by 6 is going to give you a 5.8. And then the very last step, you're going to divide this, which is going to give you a negative 2.59. Now remember, that is your z-score. So you would need to use a table to convert it to a p-score. Okay, I want to use that p-score to go ahead and convert or compare to the alpha. Okay, next one, 4. Draw a diagram to find the p-value. So for number 4, here is my alpha. Here is where the score is, negative 2.59. And I want to look for this region right here. So if my z-score is a negative 2.59, what is my p-score? Well, let's take a look at this. Negative 2.59. What is a p-score? So negative 2.59 is going to be a p-score of 0.0048. So 0.0048. So let's go back and compare that. So negative 0.0048. Step number 5. It says use the p-value to make a decision to reject or fail to reject the null hypothesis. So here's your p, here's your alpha. Your p-score is negative 0.0048. Your alpha is 0.001 or 0.01. So where should I write the inequality? It should be in this direction. And if you look at this direction right here, what does that mean? Step 6, interpret a decision. This means that you are going to reject the null hypothesis that pizza is going to take more than 30 minutes because P is less than alpha. So the 3 dots means therefore delivery of pizza takes less than 30 minutes. And that is the 6 steps that you need to go ahead and do this problem. All right, so next, what I'm gonna have you guys do is go ahead and work on objective number 8. And you're gonna follow the same 6 steps. So go ahead and do that. Pause the video and answer the following questions. All right, you guys, now that you're done with that, I think you're pretty much ready for the quiz itself. So go ahead and on a separate piece of paper, answers question number 1 and 2, and then make sure you upload to MS Team. Okay, if you're done with that, the next part of what I want you guys to work on is the following. On your interest inventory, in addition to a survey on your performance of the school. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. All right, so first thing I want you guys to do is go ahead and do the inventory. So your job is to go ahead and a little more self using this. At the end of the inventory, did the self-reflection give you a better understanding of the type of person you have become? All right, next what I would like you guys to do is come over to this part right here. You can pause the video. This is a kind of a inventory or a survey. And I want you guys to go ahead and rate how much you agree with it. So first thing, at the school, teachers have high expectation for student learning. Do you strongly agree, neutral, disagree, or strongly disagree? Question number 2. At the school, administrators have high expectation for student learning. 3, teachers have high expectation for my personal learning. 4, administrators have high expectation for my personal learning. 5, teacher treats students with respect. 6, teachers let me know whether my understanding and thinking are on track. 7, Instruction is well planned and organized. 8, teacher clearly states the learning expectation for every lesson. 9, teacher clearly states the expectation for every assignment. And lastly, 10, I often feel lost or behind during lessons. Lastly, if you can rate Hawk High School from 1 to 5 stars, why and justify your answer. I personally always think that there's always suggestions and recommendations for improvements. I want you to go ahead and provide me with 5. Because you guys matter, and again, this is your school. All right, you guys, that's basically it. I hope you have a wonderful week, and as always, stay safe and healthy, and take care.